What do you think, looking back on that season, so last season, was one of the biggest misconceptions of the Indiana Fever? Like, maybe it was like locker room stuff. I feel like early on,
oh my
like,
gosh, there was so much locker room talk. Oh my gosh, her body language.
What do you think were the biggest misconceptions about the Indiana Fever last season? The locker room whispers, the body language analysis, the dramatic claims that Aliyah Boston hated her entire squad and couldn't stand playing alongside Caitlin Clark. Well, everything you thought you knew just got turned completely upside down. In a brand new interview that's absolutely breaking the internet right now, Aliyah Boston didn't just set the record straight. She delivered the most devastating response to Sheryl Swoopes and every single critic who thought they had the Fever figured out. This isn't your typical feel-good basketball chat. This is raw, unfiltered truth that's about to expose just how wrong everyone has been about what's really happening in Indiana. Remember when Sheryl Swoopes made those inflammatory
going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some new shit going on around there.
It's a lot. Yeah. So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, oh.
Comments about the Fever organization, suggesting that significant players were desperately trying to escape Indianapolis. She painted this picture of a fractured locker room, claiming multiple stars were actively looking for exits because they simply didn't want to be part of what Indiana was building. Those words cut deep, especially coming from a WNBA legend whose opinion carries serious weight throughout the basketball community. But Aliyah Boston just served up the most epic clapback that puts Swoopes firmly in her place, and the timing couldn't be more perfect. Here's what makes this entire situation so fascinating. Boston and Clark weren't always destined to be the dynamic duo we see today. These two warriors faced off in one of the most memorable Final Four matchups.
that you like did what you did in that Final Four game. I was like, I feel like I just need to get it off my chest because like we are teammates, but I'm like, you didn't have to do all that. Like you did not have to go for 40 on our dome. Like, girl, we could have just...
In recent college basketball history, and let's just say Aliyah hasn't forgotten what Caitlin did to her team that night. Picture this. You're grinding through an elite college basketball career, fighting for every opportunity to reach the championship game, and then this Iowa sensation drops 40 points on your head in the biggest game of the season. That's not exactly the kind of performance you just brush off and forget about. But here's where the story gets incredibly real. When Boston and Clark became teammates, Aliyah made a decision that shows just how mature and authentic she really is. She walked right up to Caitlin and said exactly what was on her mind. No passive-aggressive nonsense. No behind-the-scenes drama. Just straight-up honesty about how that Final Four performance still stung. She told Clark she was genuinely upset about getting torched for 40 points. But she also knew they needed to clear the air if they were going to work together as professionals. That conversation could have gone sideways fast. But instead, it became the foundation of mutual respect that would define...
Could have just have fun.
Yeah,
but after that, it was like cool because obviously now we're on the same team, so you don't worry about that. But I always thought it was funny because I'm like, we just went from competing against each other, you beating us, and now we're on the same team. Yeah. It's like, I was like, girl, it's okay, I get it, I'm not mad.
Their entire relationship. What happened next is pure basketball poetry. Instead of holding grudges or letting competitive history create tension, these two incredible athletes chose collaboration over conflict. They recognized that their individual talents could create something special together, something that would be bigger than either of them could achieve alone. That shift in mindset from competitor to collaborator didn't happen overnight, but when it clicked, it became absolutely unstoppable. The chemistry they've developed on the court goes so far beyond what any stat sheet could ever capture. We're talking about trust at the highest level, the kind of basketball intuition that can't be taught in any clinic or practice session. When Boston explains how she literally watches Clark's eyes to anticipate the next play, you realize this isn't just basketball.
Do complement each other. Yeah. And I hear you that it takes time, but like, what do you think it is about each of your games that works well? Like, mostly in the pick and roll. We'll talk pick and roll.
I think honestly, one, like Caitlin, the attention she gets, right? Like teams are like up. Like if they're under and dropped, that shot's going up. because I'm going to set a good screen. That shot's going up and she's getting it. And then it's like, okay, well, now I'm going to step up. And she's just a phenomenal passer. Like her angles, like
basketball talent. This is basketball telepathy. Their pick and roll connection has become one of the most electric partnerships in the entire league, with Clark's incredible passing vision creating perfect scoring opportunities for Boston's elite positioning and finishing ability. Clark's basketball IQ, combined with Boston's court awareness, creates this beautiful basketball symphony where every screen, every cut, every seal happens with perfect timing. Aliyah doesn't even need to call for the ball anymore because she knows Caitlin is constantly scanning the floor, looking for that perfect window to thread the needle. When Boston talks about getting in Clark's pocket and being ready to move the moment she sees those eyes light up, you understand that this connection has evolved into something truly special. But let's be completely...
I know early on you talked about logging off social media. Like, what did you just learn in that period of time? And by the way, the social media aspect is not Caitlin's fault.
No.
So it's like, but what did you learn just like in that period of time?
Yeah, I mean, everyone loves Caitlin. They love watching Caitlin.
Yeah.
And so
honest about what happened when Caitlin Clark joined the Indiana Fever. The spotlight didn't just get brighter, it became absolutely blinding. Every single play was dissected under a microscope. Every interaction was analyzed for hidden meaning, and the pressure reached levels that would crush most young teams. The basketball world expected instant magic, like these two stars would just automatically click and start dominating from game one. That's not how real chemistry works. And the unrealistic expectations created this toxic environment where every growing pain was treated like a catastrophic failure. The social media storm became absolutely brutal. Fans and critics started picking up.
So I think that just brings so much eyes. And I think for our league, that's great. Like, that is great for us. You have so many people coming in, they're watching. Like I always say, like, they might come in for Caitlin and they leave and they're like, dang, this girl's a hooper too.
Yeah.
Oh, I like her. Like,
you're seeing
you
it
hear
in
so many people say it. You
viewership.
hear, like,
every single moment, reading negative meanings into completely normal basketball interactions. Poor body language after a tough loss suddenly became evidence of deep-seated hatred. A missed connection on the court was proof of locker room drama. The pressure got so intense that Boston had to completely disconnect from social media just to protect her mental health. She already puts incredible pressure on herself to perform at an elite level, and the last thing she needed was thousands of strangers telling her she was failing her teammate and destroying team chemistry. But here's what makes Aliyah Boston's response so powerful. She never once blamed Caitlin Clark for the media circus. Instead, she praised Clark for elevating the entire league and bringing new fans to women's basketball. Boston understood that the attention was ultimately...
Talking about more social media.
Okay. It's a turn.
Right?
It's a turn, right? It's really a turn of the tides.
Well,
right?
Gil, here's my point. The beginning of the year, right? Everybody
positive for the WNBA, even when the scrutiny felt overwhelming. She recognized that people might come to watch Clark initially, but they'd leave appreciating the incredible talent throughout the entire league. That perspective shows incredible maturity and team-first thinking. The real problem wasn't the attention. It was the completely unrealistic expectation that two young superstars would develop perfect chemistry immediately. Basketball chemistry is like any relationship. It takes time, trust, communication, and shared experiences to really flourish. The critics wanted instant gratification, but Boston and Clark...
You have a bad game personally, that takes a toll on you.
Yeah.
It's not that you don't like the team. It's not you, but that takes a toll on you. Every single night we come out, we want to play good. And so like all the time there were locker room talks. I forgot what was the conversation one time. I woke up from my nap, getting ready to go.
Were focused on building something sustainable and special. Then came the manufactured drama that absolutely dominated social media and sports talk shows. Suddenly, every basketball analyst and internet expert claimed to have inside information about massive locker room conflicts. The narrative became that Boston and Clark couldn't stand each other, that the team was completely fractured, and that multiple players were actively trying to force trades. The speculation reached such ridiculous levels that Boston would literally wake up from pre-game naps to discover that she and her teammates allegedly hated each other. The reality was completely different. While strangers on the internet were creating elaborate conspiracy theories about team dysfunction.
I go to pregame, people are like, oh, they hate each other. We walked in the locker room, we're like, girl, you good?
Yeah.
I'm like, I just woke up. I couldn't tell you what's happening right now, but all I know is we about to hoop. At 7.
Boston and her teammates were walking into the locker room asking each other if everything was okay, then laughing about the absurd rumors circulating online. They'd see headlines about supposed beef and drama, then look around at their unified, focused team and wonder what planet these critics were living on. The disconnect between the internet narrative and actual locker room reality was absolutely mind-blowing. This is where Boston delivered her most devastating blow to all the critics and doubters. She made it crystal clear that professional athletes know exactly how to control their public image. If the Fever wanted people to see conflict or drama, they'd make sure it was visible. If they wanted to keep their business private, no amount of amateur body language analysis would reveal their true feelings. The team's priority was winning basketball games, not feeding social media speculation or satisfying the curiosity of internet detectives who thought they could read minds through television screens. Boston's message to all the couch coaches and armchair psychologists was simple, but brutal. Maybe sit this one out. While you're busy creating fictional storylines about team drama, the actual team is building something special that's going to be a serious problem for every other franchise in the league. The Fever weren't wasting energy on manufactured controversies. They were channeling every ounce of focus toward becoming championship contenders. The 2024 playoff experience provided the perfect example of how much this team had grown together. Their series against Connecticut wasn't just about wins and losses. It was about learning what championship-level basketball really requires. The Fever pushed the defending champions to their absolute limit, and Boston believes they would have won a decisive third game if they could have brought the series back to Indianapolis. That near miss didn't create disappointment. It created hunger. More importantly, that playoff experience taught them the difference between talent and championship experience. Connecticut's veterans knew exactly when to strike, how to manage pressure, and what it takes to close out series. The Fever learned those lessons the hard way, but they absorbed every single detail and used it to fuel their preparation for the following season. Going into 2025, everything changed for the Indiana Fever. They weren't sneaking up on anybody anymore. The combination of off-season additions, new coaching leadership, and the continued spotlight from Clark's presence transformed them from promising underdogs into legitimate championship favorites. That shift from hunter to hunted brought entirely different pressures. But Boston embraces that challenge completely. The expectations became sky-high overnight. But rather than being intimidated, the Fever adopted a championship mindset from day one. Every team on their schedule was going to bring their absolute best effort, treating games against Indiana like playoff battles. That level of competition would either break them or make them stronger, and Boston was determined to prove they belonged among the league's elite. But 2025 didn't follow the fairy tale script that everyone expected. Injuries started piling up, including a devastating blow when Caitlin Clark went down. For a young team still building its identity, losing such a central figure could have derailed everything. Instead, the Fever proved just how deep their character really runs. From the very beginning of the season, their philosophy was crystal clear. Next woman up. Injuries are part of basketball, but excuses aren't part of championship culture. Whether it was a superstar or a role player going down, someone else needed to step up and fill that void immediately. The games keep coming regardless of who's available, so every single player had to stay mentally and physically ready to contribute at any moment. Playing without Clark forced the Fever to discover new dimensions of their offensive identity. When she's on the court, the pace is electric, and everyone needs to be ready to run in transition. Her court vision and passing ability create constant scoring opportunities. But it also requires teammates to stay alert and ready to capitalize on those split-second windows. Without her, the game slows down and they can execute more deliberate half-court sets, working through multiple screening actions and forcing defenses to guard for longer possessions. That adaptability became one of their greatest strengths during a challenging season. Learning to thrive in both systems made them more versatile and unpredictable. Teams couldn't just prepare for one style of play. They had to be ready for whatever version of the Fever showed up on any given night. The veteran leadership additions proved absolutely crucial during this adversity. Players like Natasha Howard, Kelsey Mitchell, and Sydney Colson became the emotional backbone of the team, providing stability and guidance when everything seemed chaotic. Colson especially emerged as a perfect voice for the locker room, knowing exactly what to say and when to say it to keep everyone focused and confident. Boston credits these veterans with teaching the younger players how to handle pressure and maintain perspective during difficult stretches. They understood that every shot won't fall, every game won't be perfect, but confidence and preparation never waver. That mindset became infectious throughout the entire roster. Now, as the Fever battle through the WNBA semifinals against Las Vegas, they're doing something that seemed impossible just months ago. They're competing at the highest level despite dealing with injuries to 6 key players. Every game feels like a war, but they're not just surviving, they're thriving in the chaos. Aliyah Boston has become the rock that holds everything together. She's walking the perfect line between fierce competitor and emotional anchor, showing the entire league what happens when adversity creates opportunity instead of excuses. This team isn't just fighting for wins. They're fighting to prove that resilience and unity can overcome any obstacle. The Indiana Fever have transformed doubt into fuel and adversity into identity. They're here, they're legitimate, and they're nowhere near finished. So to everyone who thought they had this team figured out, who believed the manufactured drama and bought into the false narratives, Aliyah Boston just served you the ultimate reality check. The best is absolutely still to come.